The entrance I've just used to get into Princes Park is at the end of Princess Boulevard, and I guess you would describe this as a park on the edge of a city centre. I came out the other day to film Lark Lane and it was absolutely red hot. Look at it today. Dull, overcast, probably going to rain. I don't know. Our weather's rubbish. This obelisk and former drinking fountain is here so that we can remember Richard Vaughan Yates, who was the founder of Princes Park. This obelisk in his memory was erected in 1858 by apparently public subscription, which means some people like us paid for it. This park covers 110 acres and in 2009 it became Grade 2 listed. The park was designed by Joseph Paxton and James Pennethome and it opened in 1842. This is Princes Park in Liverpool and I'm going to take a walk to Sefton Park, and this was a journey that my family used to do years ago when we lived around here in Toxteth or off Smithdown Road, and I mentioned it in the Lodge Lane video that we used to come out of Home Street, walk to the top of Smithdown Road, down Lodge Lane and into the park here. So this for me is a little bit of a nostalgia trip because I've not walked from one park to the other for a long time. Now I said that Princes Park became Grade 2 listed in 2009. It's actually Grade 2 with one of those star asterisk things, the same as the Abbey Cinema. When this park originally opened, it was meant to be a private park, but they also let members of the public in. Now right now I'm not quite sure what the title of this video is going to be. It could be a walk from Princes Park to Sefton Park, or it could be obelisk to obelisk. I'll have a think about it. So this is Princes Park Lake, which is known for swans and geese, ducks and the occasional heron. There's a heron over there and he's just disappeared. Oh well, the one that got away. So Princes Park, I think I said before, opened in 1842 and it was named after the newly born Prince Edward, who was known in royal circles as Bertie for some reason. Princes Road and Princess Avenue were also named after the newly born Prince Edward. So Prince Edward was born in Buckingham Palace in 1841 and he was the second child and eldest son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. When Queen Victoria died, Edward became king in 1901 and managed to reign over the country until 1910. And if you can't quite place who Edward VII is, it's this guy. He's the one on top, by the way, wearing a hat. The other one's a horse. When Princes Park was built in 1842, Sefton Park didn't exist. Sefton Park wasn't created until 1872. There's a 30-year gap between the two parks, and I think these days, I don't know what it was like back then obviously, but Princes Park isn't as busy as Sefton Park is. Princes Park's actually a nice place to come, especially down here by the lake. This is obviously the remains of a lakeside house or hut. There used to be rowing boats for hire on this lake. I don't know if this building's got anything to do with that, but rowing boats on the lake are long gone. Now it does actually look like the sun is starting to find its way out of the clouds, and it's brightening up everywhere. See? All the seasons in one day. Right, so let's continue our journey to Sefton Park. And now just in front of us there is one of the gates, one of the exits and entrances into Princes Park. And after saying the sun had come out a little earlier, it's dulled over again, it's gone very cloudy. Now this road that we're going to use to cut through to Sefton Park is called Windermere Terrace, and I would guess that when these houses were built they would have been very grand. They would have been for very rich people. And basically you're sat in the middle of two park areas. Princes Park and Sefton Park are just on your doorstep. These days though, I think some of them are shared ownership, made into apartments. This one certainly is, because got all the buzzers on the door. The White House on the left hand side here was once home to Liverpool poet Roger McGough. He lived here from 1972 to 1980. I think it's called Windermere House. So this was the route down to the lake. Now of course there is a more direct route out of Princes Park, rather than deviating off to the lake. You can just walk straight through. So this pathway here is the one with the obelisk behind me, and Princess Boulevard. You come out on Windermere Terrace at the other end. So I'll just have a wander down and show you where we are. So we're walking down to where we were a minute or so ago in the video, towards what I think is called Windermere House, which was once the home of Roger McGough. Now, there is a little bit of confusion because some people say he lived a few doors up, and a guy called Fritz Spiegel lived there. Now, Fritz Spiegel ran a publishers called the Scouse Press, and they made the Learn Yourself Scouse books. But according to Nathan McGough, that's where they lived, in that white house that I showed you on the way up, which is just on the right hand side here now. So with that house we have our bearings. According to Nathan, Fritz Spiegel lived in the house next door, so that's probably the one we've just passed. Now if we carried on walking here towards the right fork in this road, we would end up back in Princes Park. That's where the gates are that we left the park for the first time. So this building in front of us here with the white gate posts is Belvedere Catholic College. But the house on the other side of the road is very interesting. When all this area was Toxteth Park, playground of King John, who invented Liverpool in 1207, this was one of two gatehouses which marked the edge of Toxteth Park. So Park Lodge, with the date 1207, used to be one of the park lodges for Toxteth Park back in the day. So we're just going to come onto Sefton Park Road here. You can see the entrance to Sefton Park there, that's one of the gates there. But if we turn left onto Sefton Park Road, we can have a look at one of the other gates to the same lodge. So as I said, this used to be one of the gatehouses for Toxteth Park years and years ago, and it's been heavily modified over the years. Obviously somebody lives here now, it's a private house, but there's a lot of history to that particular property. So down there is Sefton Park, and the entrance that we just saw, and we're going to time travel now. And there we are, this is the entrance to, or one of the entrances to Sefton Park. So this is Egbert Drive, which would take you around part of Sefton Park to the right there. And I don't know if you can see it on screen yet. And this being a very wide angle lens, it makes everything look more distant than it is. And this guy here overtaking me on his invisible bike, I think it might be electric. And there in front of us now is Sefton Park obelisk. I don't know if you heard that. Anyway, just in case I lost the sound there with those cars, there in front of us is Sefton Park obelisk. Well, when Sefton Park was first built, this entrance would have been the principal entrance into the park opposite Lodge Lane. Now of course these days it's called Sefton Park Road, so at some point there must have been a name change. This obelisk is a memorial to a guy called Samuel Smith. Now, Samuel Smith was born in 1836 and he died in 1906. He was a British politician, and he served as a Liberal Member of Parliament from 1882 to 1885, and also from 1886 to 1906. Now apparently he was actually noted for being a champion of social purity, which basically means he didn't like anything vulgar or any debauchery. The obelisk in Sefton Park, as you can see, is a lot taller than the one that we saw in Prince's Park. So that's Samuel Smith there in a laurel wreath, and on two sides of this obelisk, above the drinking fountains, which are no longer in use, the inscriptions say, "Whoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give them shall never thirst." And this is taken from St. John's Gospel. And again, like the obelisk in Prince's Park, this obelisk was paid for by public subscription, and it's also Grade 2 listed. This obelisk was unveiled in 1909, which was 3 years after Samuel Smith had died. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up soon.